Radiophonic Sea Creatures. Throw your cap at the tip of my dick and watch your mustache sprout, because I, Tokyo Choo Choo, am going to be your host today. And with me, as always, are two men who think E3 is way too tame and instead prefer their own themed event, E7, which stands for Enticingly Engorged Extended Epididymis Entrance Expectantly Encouraged. It's Human Metal and Brack. How are you guys today?
You have to translate that for us.
It just means stick your big cock up my ass.
Pass.
See, I recorded that part, and I will just send it to your wife. Just like, did you hear what he said yesterday?
My wife can't speak basic English, let alone that English.
Oh, okay.
Now,
well, that's a plus for you, I guess.
Now, please don't send that soundbite to my wife, because that will upset her. How are you, Human Metal?
I'm fine. I had a little accident at the end of April that, put me in the hospital for a while, and I had to recuperate a bit. But now I'm better. So.
Jesus Christ, that is one severe wet bed.
Yeah. When you say little accident, it sounds like you peed your pants.
Yeah.
No.
Do you have you've got like xenomorph piss, which basically melted off your
legs? Man. Everyone who would like antagonize me, yes, I could just pull on my pants and pee on him, and he would instantly die, and
Yeah, but like
perfect
you live on like the I don't know, like in a big building, right? So if you piss on the big highest floor, it will just go through all the floors.
Yeah, but
no, that's not my problem.
But not only that. Have you ever been in?
You live on the top floor. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but have you ever been in like that time, when you really need a piss and you're in a big hurry to catch a train or something? You get the drops on your pants or whatever. Jesus, that's going to cause you some pain, Human Metal. It's not going to be fun for you.
Maybe. Yeah, no, but it was, it was a bicycle accident and shit happens, and
Did you piss while you were on the bicycle and that you just like acid burned through the bicycle and that's why you fell?
No, my bicycle just decided to fall apart under me because it's old, and I maybe should buy a new one.
You know what, Human Metal?
Now you definitely should, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Feel you. I still have a chunk missing from my elbow where I had a huge bicycle accident, so it's not fun. And
I have a nice scar now here over my elbow. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, I can see it.
And so because I broke my skull bone basically, so. And had some brain hemorrhaging, but fun time.
I think Punished Snake in like the latest Metal Gear has stuck out the exact same place, at least somewhere there.
And there you go. That's my secret identity.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm still mad at Konami.
I love the way
they sabotaged my bike.
Human Metal could just laugh that off. Yeah, I broke my skull and had some brain hemorrhaging. Oh, fun times.
Hey, I'm still alive, right? And I'm fine. I can, speak normally and, move all my limbs. So I guess it all turned out all right. And now I will wear a helmet when I'm riding my bike.
Yep. You should. Well, just desserts. You should have been wearing a helmet before, you prick. But
yeah, but nobody does that. So
no, I don't wear a helmet either.
Actually, I don't either. So yeah, but
hey, guys, though.
And at least we have at least a little bit of hair to protect us when we fall down.
Yeah, actually,
you don't.
That's not a fucking joke. When they shave my head, my bald part is seriously painful every time they shave it. The part with hair isn't painful. The bald part is extremely painful. So I think in some ways hair follicles do actually like toughen up your skull. I don't know.
Maybe.
How
are you guys anyway? So. I mean,
well, I'm still bald and Brack still has a fucking beard, so I think things haven't changed that much for us. But we did go through the excitement and the wonder that was E3. So welcome to the Radiophonics kind of E3 breakdown. We don't really need to hear how Brack is doing. I mean, fuck Brack. And his beard, vagina mouth. So we're gonna go through some of the highlights and lowlights from E3. I would say who's going first, but apparently I'm going first. So there you go. The first game that I thought was impressive. No, hold on. Slow your roll there just a little. What did you think of E3 overall? Let's get overall impressions. Just as an overall event, how was your opinions of that? Before we go into specifics, Human Metal, what did you think? Let's keep
It was-
Brack from speaking as long as possible. What did you think, Human?
It was all right. Sony had not as strong of a showing as last year, but Microsoft had a better one, so I think it all evened out. EA was a bit better than last year. That is not saying much, but still. Yeah, I think it was an all right E3. It was not like this super big event thing that it was last time, in my opinion, but it was cool. It was all right. There were some interesting new things to see. So, yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I know. Do you agree?
Yes, I actually agree. Like it wasn't as there was less bad stuff. Like they were obviously not gonna. There was way less people just on stage talking for like 50 minutes. Talking about like, oh man, we sold so many copies of this game and blah blah data, sports, TV, sports. So
much more back-to-back game trailers and everything, and gameplay
like
footage.
Microsoft and Sony, it was like trailer, gameplay. Talking for 5 seconds, trailer, gameplay. So yeah, that's more entertaining to watch. But in general, for me, I watched it afterwards, so it would be the same thing. It's like basically the same thing as watching it later because it's just gameplay.
I like to watch it live, but this time I couldn't because I, had to work and everything. So.
But I think there were less big surprises and more like sequel type stuff. And yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
To be honest, I pay very little attention to E3, so probably my actual involvement in this episode is going to be relatively limited because there's time to dig through all the stuff in E3, but certainly not in this lifetime. So simply, but from what I noticed, it didn't seem like a particularly strong showing in that. Last year was all about you had huge reveals that came out of nowhere and really surprised everybody and had everybody whipping from the rafters. I don't think this E3 really had that type of element to it. Like you say, it's more like tried and tested IPs and stuff and sequels and stuff that.
Well, we had some new ones, but not like these groundbreaking games that you would never expect to happen, like Shenmue 3 or Final Fantasy 7 remake or something like that.
Yeah, there were some, but I think with like some of the other ones, like they showed a little bit more. With like I think it was like last year or something where they showed the new God of War thing, and it was a big surprise. But that wasn't the big surprise. They literally immediately showed like a playthrough of like 7 minutes long.
Yeah, and this time it was only a trailer, so.
And with like Spider-Man, you also see like was also a big surprise last year, and it was like immediately like a trailer which showed actually some stuff. And this time we had big surprises, but they were like, oh, here's a CGI trailer. Here is less than a CGI trailer. This is the title. Yeah. And here is not even the title. It's just somebody on the screen telling you, oh yeah, we're working on some game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but in general, I thought it was a so-so show. To be fair, I mean, I don't think it was great. I don't think it was bad. It was just okay. But anyway, let's get into some fucking highlights here. So I'm gonna go first with the first game of E3 for me. So the first one I was interested in is Shadow of the Colossus. So the remake. Shadow of the Colossus is obviously a classic game from the PS2 era that I didn't play. I think if I remember rightly, at that time in video game history, I was out of video games. There were a couple of years, more than a couple of years, where I just stopped playing because my life was in flux and I was in the process of moving countries and etc. and dealing with personal stuff. I was quite transient at that point. It sounds like I was homeless. I think I might have been for a very short. I was homeless actually for a very short time during that period. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, for a few years I stopped playing video games, and that was the period where Shadow of the Colossus was released towards the end of the PS2 era. So I never got to play it then, and enough time went by that when the remaster came out, I wasn't really interested to play the remaster for a couple of reasons. The main one being that I wasn't really a fan of Ico, to be honest. Especially because the controls of that game felt really antiquated. I didn't like it back then for whatever reason. And then when I tried the remaster, the demo of the remaster, I didn't like it again. No, I bought the remaster. Yeah. I didn't like the remaster either. So, however, with the remake, things are different because I assume they'll be updating the controls and making them more friendly to a more modern audience and getting rid of some of the jaggy kind of clunkiness that kind of blighted Eco for me personally. The game always looks great. It always looked like one of those cathartic masterpieces, and I can totally understand the sort of premise behind it, having to kill these giant monsters that are actually beautiful and kind of make you sort of wonder, why am I killing them exactly? You know what I mean? There's a like that scene in Hellboy where Hellboy has to kill that fucking big tree thing. Like I always imagined Shadow of the Colossus kind of captures that feeling, but on a sort of more sort of journey-ish cathartic level. So I'm really looking forward to playing it. It's always a game I've wanted to play. I just am afraid of like going backwards in time to play the old version with the janky controls and janky graphics. But now it's updated. I'm finally going to give it a chance. I'm going to definitely play that when it comes out. Looking forward to it. How about you guys? Any thoughts on Shadow of the Colossus? Did you play the original? What was your opinion on the original, if you did?
I did play the original. I replayed it last year on PS3, and it held up pretty good. It's a good game. I like it a lot better than Ico myself as well, mostly because of the controls. It's less frustrating. It's more like impressive. Like you have there's a huge colossi that you fight, and then you climb up on, and they're like puzzles in themselves, and that's like a lot. I don't know, a lot more showy than what Ico is, and the controls are better. And I think the story is a little bit more ambitious as well. But because I played it so recently, I'm probably not going to play Shadow of the Colossus remake anytime soon. But I probably will play it at some point because it's just such a good game, and the graphics, the improved graphics, look great. Like it looks very good. It looks like a game from these days, so it's like actual improvement, which the remaster was just it was just the same game in a higher resolution.
Yeah. How about you, HM?
I haven't played either Eco or Shadow of the Colossus. I always wanted to, and I was thinking about getting the HD remaster, but yes, I haven't gotten to it yet. And I don't know if I'd rather wait for the remake now, at least for Shadow of the Colossus. Some people have like already complained or uttered their worries that if you can see like to the end of the map in this game because the graphics are so good, that's not the same feeling as when you have like this like mist and atmosphere surrounding you, and if the horse is listening to you all the time now, that doesn't feel right either. I'm like, yeah, guys, come on. Don't please.
But that's because Shadow of the Colossus is one of those games that was like one of the first like examples of games can be art.
Yeah.
And so people have a lot of like in their mind that okay, this is art. You can't really improve on this anymore because it's an art piece, and it's like not really respectful to the original artist to change it or improve it.
Who's working on the remake anyway? Like
it's Blue Point.
Okay.
They have also done like the remasters of like the Uncharted trilogy and some other games.
Yeah. Okay.
Still, I never played the original, so I won't have that kind of
me neither.
Side-by-side comparison. So I'm happy to have better graphics and have a horse that actually listens to me and see to the end of the map. I'm good with those changes.
It's like if you watch the movie adaptation first before reading the book or something. People who have read the book, maybe some complaints, but people who just go in movie first, maybe just experience the movie on a whole different basis and are like, okay, no, I like that a lot. Yeah, but I don't have the comparison to complain about this other stuff.
And it's also not like it's a remake, but it's actually kind of a remaster still. You know what I mean? They're not going to change much about the content at all. It's like
have they said so? I mean, maybe they're going to change some of the colossi.
They said that they're not going to change the colossi. Okay. They're going to keep the same colossi, and they're not going to change that. But it's more like you get an old movie, and it was like a shitty 480 or something. Like a shitty on videotape only released, and now they put it out in like Blu-ray, high def, 4K, and then it changes some stuff because maybe you're seeing like a wider angle and you see some more stuff or some details that in the original movie were hidden. You can now see obviously, but it's probably the better version still. So yeah, why not pick the better version?
And also, as I say, probably essentially also updating some antiquated controls and just
hopefully, yes.
Yeah, fiddling about with that type of thing. So yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, there you go, a very, very entertaining hopefully a very entertaining addition to the library. I'm excited to play that. One more thing I got to say about Shadow of the Colossus. I was struggling in my brain. There was something I wanted to say about it, but yeah, that quickly reminds me as a quick aside. Did anybody see Reign Over Me, the Adam Sandler movie? Where
No, why would we?
why would you? Yeah, well, it's actually from Adam Sandler's good period, but it's a terrible fucking film. It's like one of the worst preachy fucking films you'll ever see. But anyway, in that movie, he plays this depressive who manages to calm his mind by playing Shadow of the Colossus.
What?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's Shadow of the Colossus is a big part of the storyline of that game, of that movie, and he
sounds super weird.
He and Don Cheadle basically, like sit there playing it, and Adam Sandler's like introducing Don Cheadle to it, and it's kind of like his therapy to play Shadow of the Colossus. So, unfortunately, that film was shit, so it doesn't make me like that any less.
That's a shame.
Anymore, sorry. Yeah, so but it was an interesting like video games within a movie type experience. It's pretty cool. The movie's not cool though. I don't recommend it. Don't watch that. Go watch Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison. So
I already did.
Yeah. What's next on the list? Who wants to go next? Volunteers.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Brack, you take it. Brack's apparently shitting in his pants right now for some reason. So,
I thought maybe Brack wanted to finish out on the last one, so that's why.
I'll go next then, because the next game I'm going to talk about has Colossus in the title, so it's a nice.
Okay.
Bridge.
All right.
Because it's Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. It's not the old Colossus; it's the new Colossus, and. I've already told that I really was a huge fan of the first the first Wolfenstein reboot game, because it was such a fun shoot 'em up, but also because it has a great story, and the new one looks great still. Like they're going from Europe to America. It's still everything is taken over by the Nazis. It's alternate history. It's gonna be shooting down a lot of Nazis. The dialogue looks great, and it has probably gonna have an amazing soundtrack like the last time, and there's drug use in there. And there's a sequence in the beginning where you're in a wheelchair and you're still killing Nazis while you're in a wheelchair. So yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. I still haven't played the New Order. I know, heresy, but I'm really I want to do that this year, so that I'm ready. When New Colossus comes out, whenever it does come. Will it come out
this year?
It's come out this year. Oh shit! Okay,
or something.
Wow. Okay. Well, I gotta hurry up then.
I don't like Bethesda's press conference, but they're really good with that. Like they had 2 game announcements of games that were like, oh yeah, and they're coming out in October. Like what? That's soon. That's cool.
Well, New Order was one of those games I wanted to wait to play until I get my new PC and my new graphics card and pull it up to max settings and everything and play with mouse and keyboard. But I still don't have that graphics card because, money. But maybe now I'll just get the PS4 version or something. That probably got a pro patch too or something.
The funny thing is, this game looks a lot better than the first one, because the first one it's pretty old and was like a cross-generation game. It came out on both the PS3 and the PS4. So this new one is like a huge improvement in the graphics.
All right. Well, looking forward to it anyway, because that trailer looks amazing.
Fun. It's really fun, yeah.
And I'm always surprised when I saw stuff from the New Order and when I seen stuff from this, how well written the dialogue seems. Just in terms of pacing, just in terms of snapping back and forth, the comedy and everything. It just feels so like someone who really knew what they were doing. And from a Wolfenstein game, that always baffles me.
No, it baffles me as well, because they have subtle storytelling. They have a kind of subtle romance between 2 characters. And they also have you going on the moon and shooting Nazis.
Yeah.
It's kind of hilarious. That they
the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I am also interested in that game. I love a good story-driven first-person shooter. So yeah, I'm down for that. I haven't played the first one either. I think part of the reason for me is in the last couple of years, to be fair, I haven't really had a lot of time to play video games. But however, for personal reasons, a lot of time has opened up. I have a lot more free time to play games now, and I'm sort of already planning, what releases to fit in. So maybe Wolfenstein definitely is one of the series that I want to play. It looks like it doesn't look too long. I mean, I don't know for sure, but like it looks like
The first one, I think I finished in around like 12 hours, something like that.
12 hours. Yeah, that sounds like a good amount of time for a story-driven first-person shooter. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that. It looks like a lot of fun, and the trailer looked awesome, and the game looks great, and it has a great reputation. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. So, I think hopefully, I'm hoping maybe the first Wolfenstein will come on PS Plus at some point, so I can finally get to play that. But yeah, nice, good stuff. I'm looking forward to it, Brack. Human Metal. I killed momentum. Go for it.
No, it's all right. The first game I want to talk about was a neat surprise from the EA conference, and that was A Way Out. It's done by the studio, by the people who made Brothers: A Tales of Two Sons. A game I also still need to play. But I've heard so many good things about that one, and now they have like an own studio, Hazelight, I think it's called, and the main head of the studio came out and was really enthusiastic about that game. Was really funny during the press conference. But yeah, this is like a co-op Prison Break game pretty much. And you can only play that in co-op. Like it's not like, okay, this is jump in, jump out co-op. It's like this game only works in co-op, and it's like completely structured around that. And you got no CPU partner or anything, AI partner. You can only play it with a friend. Online co-op and on couch, it's all right. Both works, but you have to play together. And there's like you get these split screens and the split screen experience, and one guy, one of the players could already be in the gameplay section, the other one could still be in the cutscene, and it seems like it's a very dynamic experience that can have some very varied paths and outcomes depending on how you decide to play the game. And it looks really interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing that with one of my friends online. And yeah, it looks cool. And it doesn't, at first expect, it's just going to be, the small indie experience where you get out of the prison. That's it. No, apparently the story extends past that. And it seems to be like these two main characters seem to be really interesting and have some interesting personal stories and stakes and everything, in getting out of the prison. So yeah, It looks really cool, like really well put together game. I'm really looking forward to playing it. Didn't expect that.
No, me neither. And even when they said, like, that's one of the announcements I watched live, and they said, here's the new game from the people from Brothers. And I didn't, the trailer started. I didn't expect this because it looks so, like it has like a high production behind it. Like Brothers, It's a great game, but you can tell it's an indie game because of the graphics and the art style and everything like that. But this looks like it has like the graphics of like one of the earlier like Uncharted games. You know what I mean? It looks really pretty as well. And I find it very interesting that they decide that it's always split screen. Even if you're playing online, it will be split screen, because then otherwise you can't really enjoy the story of what the other person is doing. So yeah, and it's more. I've heard it's more like it's not like a Telltale game. It's a lot like it, where the like decisions are very important to like how the story unfolds. And the main game director used to be actually a movie director, so he probably has like a lot of influence from there he picked to do this. So
but it looks like there's a lot more gameplay involved than in the Telltale games, like actual gameplay, like actually moving the characters, actually some tasks, actually some stuff where you actually need to know how to control the characters because it's context sensitive, and the stuff where you like have to climb up that wall and have to lean your backs against each other. I assume that is some, there has to be some,
they showed like a driving sequence.
Coordination. Yeah.
And they showed like the guys have a gun, so there might be like a third-person shooter aspect in it for like a little while, where it's like maybe like a very basic version of third-person shooter, but still shooting elements.
Yeah, one is driving and one is, shooting out the back, and,
so
have to do their best.
It very much looks like one of those movie experiences, like Uncharted, and maybe a little bit more streamlined, but it looks really good.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't really seen much gameplay video from that game because, like I say, there's not enough time in this lifetime to check out everything. But it's from the developers who made Brothers: Tale of Two Sons, a game which I loved. One of the more memorable indie experiences, certainly on the PlayStation 3. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I mean, I have faith that it's going to be a really good a kind of co-op game, but basically it really depends, like, you know, on. I have this friend. He's a bit of a cunt, really, to be honest, but he lives in the Netherlands and he has a big bushy beard. Basically, if he picks up that game, I will pick it up and play with him. But yeah.
Yeah. I also have this friend, and if he picks it up, I probably will pick it up as well. But I'm worried that while playing it, he will get drunk, you know, and then he will just like start doing crazy stuff or start stalking over the cutscenes or something like that. Or like, you know what? Would it be fun if I just take this gun and just shoot the guard in the face? I'm like, no, don't do that, don't do that. And then, poof. Oh shit.
Yeah, but that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. When Brad goes to lean against me, I'm just, if there's a purposeful button to step out the way, lean out the way so he falls into a combine harvester, I'm doing it at least once. Fuck the game over. Yeah, but yeah, seriously, I'm looking forward to that. I will play that. If Brack plays it, I'll play it with him. So fuck it. So that brings us on to, I guess, the next element. And now we're going to talk about the worst things from E3. So what were the worst things? Or the bad games, sorry. The bad games, yeah. What was a bad game at E3? Something you just didn't like or were not interested in at all? Again, I'm going to go first, so it's unusual for me to be on the back of my own segue. It doesn't quite work as well as it should. But
maybe if you didn't always announce it.
Well, that's I don't know what you think the word host means, Human Metal, but that's generally what hosts do.
No.
So, yeah, no, hosts don't usually do that.
No. No, not all hosts. Hashtag not all hosts.
Fair enough. Those are called bad hosts. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Far Cry 5. So this is a very controversial one. I know Human Metal and Bracket disagree with me because as soon as I said to them Far Cry 5, both of them were like, "The fuck, what the fuck," like this type of reaction. So
it was more of like surprised.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, "Oh, okay. I wonder what Chuchu's gonna say about that." And like, I'm totally super not interested in the game, so I'm just interested in why you don't like it. But
all right,
I'm not offended or anything. So.
Wow, here we go. Here's why I don't like it. Far Cry 3 was revolutionary, I think, at the time. It was a brilliant open world game, sort of almost verging on like Skyrim style RPG-ness. It was great. It was really groundbreaking for that time, and I enjoyed the shit out of that. Then came Far Cry 4, a game that changed nothing except the setting, and I don't know. I just was doing the same type of thing again, and the setting was okay but didn't really appeal to me. The first game really appealed to me because it had like a sunny vista, like beaches and like being in the plains in the middle of the baking sun. It was just like really, really atmospheric, diving into volcanoes. Really atmospheric.
It was like very much like a tropical vacation gone wrong in Far Cry 3.
Yeah, exactly. And the second one just didn't have the same appeal from the location. I mean, Snowy Mountains are great and stuff, but it just didn't gel with me, and I couldn't finish that game through boredom. I mean, I got a good way into Far Cry 4, but eventually boredom won out, and I just couldn't take anymore. I just quit. So then I thought the franchise went in a more interesting direction with Far Cry Primal. I was a bit too burnt out with that franchise to pick up that game, but it looked interesting with the kind of like the more wild kind of animal-esque sort of direction. I thought it was more of a fresh take. Brack, you are...
Yeah. I played Far Cry Primal for like an hour and I didn't enjoy it at all. Like at all. Because like you had to like craft every single weapon you have. So it took like a shit ton of time to even get something done. Because after just one battle with an enemy, you have to go again and collect shit to craft. So it slowed down to a crawl, and like the controlling controlling like animals was kind of cool, but it didn't really add that much. It's just like, oh, you animal, go attack human, and that's it. You didn't really add much to you doing anything, and fighting the animals. It was a woolly mammoth, but it's basically just a redesign of the elephant in Far Cry 4. Only it looks different. It wasn't even bigger or anything. It was just the same, only with like only hairy now. That's it.
To be fair, that's kind of what Mammoths are. Redesigned elephants that
Yeah,
are hairy.
It didn't change anything with how you played against it or how it looked or how big it was, because the woolly mammoths were probably a bit bigger than elephants of these days, but they were all baby mammoths because they were all smaller. And like all the new enemies, like animal enemies, were just a painted version of the enemies in Far Cry 4. So they changed even less than I think they did between Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. They even used the fucking same map as Far Cry 4.
That's
no joke.
Legitimately disappointing. I am not playing that game. It was on my list of something to play that in a future date, but Brack has just scuppered that. Thanks, Brack, for the information. I'm not gonna play that game now. But Far Cry 5, I am disappointed because for many reasons. Number one, the setting is incredibly uninteresting. I'm just not interested in America. I'm not American. I don't come from there. It has no nostalgia for me, especially backwater America. It's just too close to Far Cry 4. I mean, you remove the mountains from Far Cry 4, you probably have backwater America. Those kind of like small houses and huts. It's not interesting whatsoever. And the religious cultists. I mean, religious cultists are pricks. They should all die. But apologies if you are a religious cultist. But for everybody's sake,
don't apologize.
Go stick your face. If you are a religious cultist, go stick your face in the fan and see what happens. Anyway, but But the thing is, with religious cultists, it's so off-putting a thing for me that I don't even have the energy to want to kill them. It's just like, oh, fuck off. That's it. That's my entire anger. It's not like they killed millions of people with the Nazis or something. I mean, they're annoying as shit. But just. I don't know. So, and seeing the gameplay, it's like exactly the same thing. Like going up to a building, you link people, whatever, and then you kill them, you sneak around. I don't know. Nothing's changed. More of the same, and going backwards. Like not delivering on the promise of progression. The setting is completely useless as far as I'm concerned. I think that game's going to be Assassin's Creed 3 all over again. Just no interest, and was completely disappointed when I saw the gameplay of it. How about you guys? How about you, Brack? You might have a different opinion than me.
For me, I actually kind of like the setting. It feels a little bit. I get a justified feeling from it, and that's a show I really enjoy, where it's like these backwater towns, like redneck towns and stuff like that. And I just hope that killing all those cultists, those like religious cultists, is going to be as satisfying as that sequence in. Fuck, what was that movie? Shit. Where the one dude just beats up an entire church. Kingsman. Yes. I just hope it's just as satisfying as that sequence in Kingsman where Colin Firth just destroys Savage, like this church filled with like religious assholes. And I hope it's going to be as fun as that movie.
No.
And
it's
probably not.
Yeah, it's not going to be. I saw the gameplay. It's not.
It looks like Far Cry, but I still kind of enjoy the gameplay of Far Cry. I enjoy like going through like the villages and just like sniping everybody down and stuff like that. But there's a good chance that I won't play all the way through it. And even then, I'm not interested enough to get it like day one. It's like, oh, this is a budget bin game for me. But as a budget bin game, I really think I'm gonna have fun with it.
Yeah, I would sort of agree. I mean, if I saw it for $5 or something, I would pick it up. I mean, it's like if it is in the the bargain bin like 3 years down the line after it's released, maybe I'll play it.
There's like one improvement that's probably fun because now the entire single player and stuff like that is also playable in online co-op and not just like because in Far Cry 4 we played a little bit of co-op, which was alright.
Wait. But hang on, wait, were you saying the missions are playable in co-op?
Yeah, the single player is playable in co-op now.
Right, okay, so I'm reversing my decision. This is immediately lifted off my worst list because that's awesome. That's great. I didn't know that.
That's cool because like we played a bit of Far Cry 4, I remember, and it was fun to play this co-op, but there was nothing to do because you can't play single player missions.
It was pointless.
And now you can play the single player mission in co-op, so I think that makes the game a lot more enjoyable right away.
Well, yes. Again, I have this beardy twat friend in the Netherlands.
It's
So
like
we're
a
probably gonna-
double reverse. First he changed your mind on Primal, then he changed your mind on Far Cry 5.
Yeah, look at that. Double switch. It's a double face turn.
So we're probably both gonna buy it when it's cheap, and then like have a lot of fun just blowing through the single player.
Oh, yes, I would definitely do that with you, Brack. In fact, that sounds like a lot of fun. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. Apparently, Far Cry 5 was on my worst list, and now it's been taken off of that. The black mark has been erased by a simple addition of like mission co-op. That's actually pretty cool. I will, yeah. Despite the settings. Setting's still shit, though.
So now I'm gonna talk about a thing on my worst off list, which I'm pretty sure none of you are gonna talk me out of it, which is the Life is Strange prequel, Before the Storm. So I already was like kind of nervous about it because I like Life is Strange, but it definitely doesn't need a prequel at all. Like at all. There's no need for a prequel in that game at all.
But
then they even
Brack, before you go any further, though, just very, very briefly, please, no spoilers for the original
No,
Life
no
is Strange, because I'm
spoilers, no
playing
spoilers.
it. Okay, I'm
I'm
literally
just
playing
saying
it now.
there was no prequel necessary for that game, especially because the character's arc of like the character you play as in the prequel starts in the basic Life is Strange game. So I don't want to play the character before that arc starts, because then it's not an interesting character before that point in like a lot of ways. And I made it even worse by saying that the original voice actress isn't voicing her in the prequel because of like the actor strike that was happening, and she is like a SAG actress, so she can't voice her. So you don't even bring the original voice actors back, and it's a prequel that's already feels unnecessary, and you're probably gonna take away the interesting gameplay element of having like the powers, and you lose my interest, like basically lose my interest.
Although I can't talk about anything related to Life is Strange really, because I've literally played 40 minutes of the fucking original game. Like I want to play more, I just haven't had time. I'm gonna play more. I'm focused on other things, a little bit on the back burner, but maybe I should finish off Assassin's Creed Syndicate and go to directly into Life is Strange and try to get that done. However, Brack, you know, you finished the game, so you have a bigger connection with the actress, but for me, she's quite a bad actress. I feel that very like gamey feeling.
But
I remember
I think
feeling unimpressed thus far.
But you're so early on. I think you don't even haven't met the character that the prequel is about, because it's not the same character as Life is Strange.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely haven't done that. So yeah, but I am tentatively looking forward to playing the original Life is Strange. The reason
Also,
I'm looking forward to playing that, Brack, is because of your very, very like strong recommendation for me to play that. So that made an impact on me. So I am going to play it because of your recommendation. So if it's shit, Brack, you can hear about it, son.
Okay, but another thing I like to add, it's not even made by the same studio, because the same studio is making like a sequel, which is like focused on different characters. But this is made by a completely different studio as well. So that it's like a prequel that's unnecessary, a different studio, and they don't bring the same voice actors back. So yeah, that's 3 big marks against it.
Yeah, it does seem like too many Life is Strange games. I mean, I can't speak to the quality of the original game, but it does seem like they are sort of a relatively minor IP. They are really kind of pushing it out there. So I don't know. Don't know how they feel about that. Haven't played the original properly. How about you, Human Metal? Did you play Life is Strange?
No, I plan to. But yeah, what Brack is saying about the prequel doesn't sound too promising. So whatever. Probably let's just consider that non-canon.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's like Prometheus if you just removed Ridley Scott and replaced him with someone else. It'd be even worse.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Wait, hang on. I like Prometheus. One day we are finally going to get to our Ridley Scott episode. We're gonna hash this out. Human Metal. What's worst of your list?
Worst on my list. Yeah, this is. I don't know. It's more disappointing than worst in my opinion, because it's like okay, it's Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That's a game I was looking forward to because it's been a while since Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and this is like the first trailer of that immediately featured one of my favorite characters, which is Mega Man X, like as one of the main players in the story and everything. It's like, and I was like, hey, that's cool. Also, one of the bad guys is one of his enemies
Zero,
and everything.
right?
No, Zero is his friend. Sigma is the bad guy who fuses with Ultron for some reason, and they become Ultron Sigma. Yeah, weird shit. Anyway, I was like, oh yeah, this is weird shit I can get into. Yeah, I want this. I'm looking forward to this. And then like weird stuff trickled out, like weird bits of information, like, oh, we're not gonna have any mutants characters in here because this is gonna be focused on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that's on everybody's mind right now. So we're gonna use characters that appear there, so we can promote the game properly, in conjunction with the movies and everything. Also, we probably don't have all the licenses maybe to the X-Men stuff anymore. I don't know, but yeah, no mutants. Then the roster got leaked, and both on the Capcom side and on the Marvel side, that didn't look too promising. A lot of returning characters nobody wanted. Like on the Capcom side, Chris Redfield and Nemesis as playable characters. Why? Nobody gives a shit. And
not even Chris Redfield. They bring back Bionic Commando.
Yeah,
and it's not even the fucking Bionic Commando like the classic one. It's the one from the reboot.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Nobody gives a shit about.
It's like which character models can we like copy paste from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that still maybe have some relevance? It feels like they didn't really go back and try to get some more obscure characters from from Capcom's legacy and history, and instead just use the safe stuff, which is not really interesting. I wanted some new stuff. And then we got the story trailer right before E3 and, some more gameplay and everything. And boy, the game doesn't look good graphics-wise. Like, all the character models look really shitty. And the mouth animation and everything.
Very, very off-putting faces.
Yeah, it's like, it looks really cheap. I mean, the game is still a few, months off. It's coming out in September, I think, or October, something like that.
I played it, by the way.
Yeah, and they put out the story demo, and I heard really bad things about this. Like the story is shit, and the animations and everything are all awkward. And I haven't played the story demo, and I don't plan to. But man, this doesn't look promising.
So my thoughts on the story demo is, because that's what I played. It's kind of fun seeing those characters from those worlds interact. Like, there's a fun moment where Mega Man is using like Captain America's shield, and whatever Arthur from Ghosts and
Goblins or Ghosts and
he's
Ghosts,
talking shit to Thor, which I think is hilarious. Like, oh, you're pretty good for a heated god, like that. It's kind of funny, but the animation looks shitty. And the base problem is, like, in Injustice, for example, you fight against other enemies, right? You fight against other players.
Yeah.
Oh, not other players, but like other characters that you can select. But in the demo, at least, you just fight against like rando like henchmen characters. You don't fight against like, oh, I'm Iron Man and I'm fighting against Mega Man. You're Iron Man and you're fighting against random Asgard number 2.
That's
like
super
stuff
lame.
like that. And the story feels like a Marvel story with Capcom characters in there. Like the main antagonist is Ultron. You said Ultron Sigma, but he acts exactly like Ultron.
Yeah.
And then you try to rescue Thanos, which is of course Thanos, who is like a big player in there. And you mostly see the Marvel characters talking. It's very much a Marvel game with the Capcom actors in there as a bonus. But I'm probably gonna.
They're coming to get you, Brack.
Yeah, you know how much power Disney has. You can
Sorry.
You can talk shit about a Disney game and don't expect to like get thrown in jail. But yeah, it's pretty bad. It looks pretty bad, and the story isn't up to snuff compared to like Injustice, for example.
Yeah, sure. Like, okay, Injustice, especially Injustice 2, is like I've watched like the full story playthrough on YouTube, and that's like the high water mark, like in terms of fighting game story modes. Like they put a lot of effort into that, especially in terms of animations
also
and everything.
Tekken. It's also worse than Tekken.
Tekken 7 is also really fun. Also, that's a goofy, although that's a goofy story. But yeah, I played through that. Oh, not again! Jesus.
Damn.
Brack has literally murdered someone, and the police are out to get him. Brack, they are gunning for you,
I'm not
son.
sure if you realize this, but this point is coming from Human Metals.
They're still coming for you. It's a long way to the Netherlands, but they're coming, Brack. You got a couple of hours.
It's not that long. I mean, yeah.
I get like 4 or 5 hours. I can still have time to like to finish the podcast, so that's okay.
Oh, thank God for that. And then you go into jail and you're gonna get ass raped. Okay.
But yeah, it does. At least in the story department, it doesn't look promising. We'll see how the gameplay turns out. They're going back to 2 versus 2, other than 3 versus 3, which they had in the previous games, or at least from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 onwards. And we'll see how that turns out. They're introducing like a gem system that gives you like special power. The Infinity Stones are in there from the Marvel universe. And yeah, we'll see how if that is fun. If they make it like too, newbie friendly, we'll see. And if it's going to be too shallow, I'm still going to try it out. I'm still going to play it, but because I like that franchise. But still, like,
I will give my 2 cents. Obviously, I'm completely on the outside here because I'm not a total comic book nerd like you guys, and I'm not dogging on comic book nerds. There's nerds of all kinds, like it doesn't. In this day and age, who gives a shit? If you like comic books, great. I'm not dogging on people who like comic books here. I'm just saying I don't like comic books myself. But anyway, so from what I can ascertain, it seems like Marvel, the company, has really fucking shanghaied that game and just said, hey, we just want you to concentrate on the stuff from the MCU universe. And doesn't that kind of like segregate a lot of the audience? Do you know what I mean? Like the whole point of those games, the people who love those games are the people who are like hardcore in the comics and stuff. People like you who want to see like Venom and Carnage and like like all
Wolverine,
that type.
Spider-Man.
Exactly, and all those type of characters, like Daredevil and like all those type of characters, you want to see them in the game, and they've been removed for the characters like newbies like me know. Like I know all the Marvel characters in that game, almost all of them. So
but like that's not even that, because Wolverine. Everybody knows Wolverine, but they still took out Wolverine.
Yeah, that's because that's because he's owned by Sony.
No, it's not owned by Sony.
By Fox.
But
by
yeah,
Fox.
yeah,
I
Fox.
think they have
the
game rights.
Like,
I think
Fox
has the movie rights.
Yeah, exactly. That's a different thing. It's probably more like you said. Like Marvel wanted to push the characters that are in the cinematic universe right now. I don't necessarily think that it's like a licensing or rights thing. That might be the case. Like that Wolverine is for some reason is now owned in all instances by Fox, but I don't think so.
No.
So they wanted. And I think he will come as DLC. Like I'm pretty sure that the mutant characters and one of the more important other characters that are not in the MCU will come later as DLC. But they wanted to push out the characters that are in the movies right now that everyone knows to the forefront, to make everyone who knows these characters from the movies look at this game and be like, oh, I could play a fighting game with those characters, and that's that. So.
But the thing is, like, the cynical part of me looks at that game and, like, I just see cynicism there. I see, obviously, from the character roster of that game, I see Marvel wagging their finger and saying, no, only these characters from the MCU, and putting pressure on the gaming, on the company to like, comply. And I really don't appreciate that type of interference from a simple level of, like, that's totally BS when a movie company gets involved in video game land and makes things worse for their fans. Like, I don't appreciate that type of interference, and I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, on the other hand, I think without them without them getting involved, that game probably would have not even happened, because Capcom, I think, wouldn't have done it, without getting an incentive from Marvel or anything. So, I think it's difficult to say. Like I don't appreciate it either. Like that it's so limited. But I can see why that happened, and I'm pretty sure that the game, wouldn't even have become a reality if they didn't, work with these stipulations. So.
Okay, and
it might still turn out all right, not in the graphics department necessarily, and in the story department, but the gameplay might still be cool. And at the end, that's what counts. And we'll see how it does at the fighting game tournaments and everything, Evo and stuff like that. So
final 2 cents for me on that game. Number one, Rocket's in it. Great. Who doesn't want to play a fighting game with Rocket in it from Guardians of the Galaxy?
He was already in 3 though, so.
Yeah, I never played that. But also, for me, like, it's weird how the tables turn sometimes. When I was a kid, when I was younger, it was all about Street Fighter. Fuck Mortal Kombat. It was all about Street Fighter. Street Fighter ruled the roost. I played that game, and I thought Mortal Kombat was shit. But these days, man, Injustice was just so good. Fuck. Injustice was such a fun game. It totally skewed my fighting game access. So, like, I would much rather play Injustice 2 than pick up one of the Marvel vs. Capcom games these days.
There you go.
Yeah, it was really good fun. So we are going to come onto the second round of good things, getting back into the positive tract. I know, sorry, I apologize. I have been talking for a long time, but I'm going to talk about my second pick, and that, if you've been listening to the Radiophonic Sea Creatures for any length of time, of course, you know this is coming. You know it had to happen. Let's talk about Metroid. So, I'm a huge Metroid fan. Huge Metroid fan. Love Metroid. So, there were 2 games suddenly announced at this E3. Now, for the last couple of years, a recurring theme in the Radiophonic Sea Creatures and, my opinions on things is like, I'm not buying that machine until a new Metroid title is like announced. I'm not buying it until, where is Metroid? Where is Metroid? Finally, here comes Metroid. Not once, but twice. God damn it. So let's talk about these new Metroid titles. So let's go for, I think, the more interesting of the 2. Let's go for Metroid Return of Samus. The 3DS 2D title looks awesome. Looks great. A 2D Metroid game. What more can you say? Now,
but that's a remake, right?
Yeah, it's a remake of the second game.
It is a remake of the second game. But you have to understand, Breck, unless you are a hardcore, and I mean like hardcore Metroid fan, you've never played the second Metroid game. Hugh Metal, did you ever play a second Metroid game?
No, I didn't own the Game Boy though, so.
No.
Oh, it's a Game Boy game.
Yeah. But
yeah.
It's an original Game Boy game. I played it I think I played it originally long time ago. I think we had a Metroid episode once, didn't we? Yeah,
Yes.
I did it with Human Metal. Yeah, I think I said then. I played it like for a little bit on my mate's Game Boy and was just like, nah, that's shit. Of course, I didn't know that series. I didn't know at that time that series was awesome. To be fair, I was more about playing Street Fighter, but yeah. So anyway, it's been remade, but the thing is, like, they've obviously taken modern mechanics into account. Like, for example, you couldn't aim diagonally up in the original, like, Metroid 2, and famously the sprite was too big. The sprite of Samus was too big on the original Game Boy, and you couldn't really see anything. They've like, I can't think of the word. The rectified. That's the word. It came to me. I'm a little drunk. I'm sorry. They rectified all the things wrong with the original Samus 2. Got like good graphics for the 3DS. So yeah, I mean, what's not to like about that? They have the Metroid Other M sort of design for the suit as well, which I think is kind of interesting. And I believe that it looks like they have some of the sensor move mechanics in there. I don't know that for sure, but it looks like they've taken some of the leaves out of Teen Ninjas.
Yeah, you have some. There's definitely like a melee counter.
Yeah, there's a melee counter. That looks totally Other M, doesn't it? Like that melee counter. I remember seeing that, and I was thinking to myself that that's a really good thing to take from Other M. All the Metroid games, if you look at them, they take little things that worked from the previous games and try to incorporate them. I think some of the mechanics from Other M, Other M's a very controversial game. I know I really liked it. A lot of people didn't. There were definitely things I didn't like about it. But I think some of the sensor move stuff, some of the actual mechanics of fighting were really good in that game and could go forward in the Metroid franchise, definitely. The storyline is probably shouldn't go, but the mechanics, the gameplay mechanics, apart from the non-exploration stuff, should go forward. And it looks like they've taken sort of a leaf from that, so I'm looking forward to the advances they make. And overall, though, just simply on a very basic level, 2D Metroid coming to 3DS. 2D Metroid coming to 3DS. That is, I'm hook or by crook, I am going to buy that game, and I'm going to play it on my daughter's 3DS. Probably I'm going to play the Japanese version. Hopefully there's not too much storyline in there, so I don't get confused as shit. But
well, if it's just a remake of the second one, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Let's hope there's it's. But you never know, though. They might go fusion route.
Sorry, fire it up.
Yeah, they might just try to make more of it than there is. But I think they'll improve it in every way possible. I think the bosses will be better. The level design will be better. The enemies, the controls will be smoother. I'm really looking forward to playing that game. How can you not look forward to playing a 2D Metroid game? They are cream of the crop when it comes to 2D Metroidvania platformers.
I'm also looking forward to it. Of course, I would like it to be also on the Switch, because that's the new console, and it would be nice. But I can see why they put it on 3DS, and maybe the game wouldn't even have happened if the 3DS still didn't exist or was like support with other games. But yeah, what a few, not necessarily gripes, but stuff that is like that, where I was like, okay, was like. There was a remake of the second part, just a fan remake, just recently, another Metroid 2 remake, and that got, axed by Nintendo. He can't spread that anymore. The guy who made that, and now at least they had a good reason. Now we know, because they were working on their own Metroid 2 remake. That's a nice change because a lot of times companies just send a cease and desist, and and just to be assholes, but. Nintendo this time apparently had a good reason to do that, but still I like the graphical style of the other Metroid remake a bit better because it was like more wide scale. I'm not saying the new game looks bad. It's just like it's a personal preference because the other one looks more like Fusion or Zero Mission or stuff like that. A bit more classical style. But I'm not saying like the new one looks too shitty. It looks a bit too clean in certain parts. That's all. But yeah. It looks cool. The other thing that worries me is a bit is who is working on the game, and that's Mercury's team, the people who worked on the 3D Castlevanias, Lords of Shadow, and on the 2D Lords of Shadow Castlevania for I think that was also for the 3DS, Mirrors of Fate. It was a really bad game. That was a really shitty 2D platforming game, and I really hope that doesn't go into that Metroid game in some way. Because, I did not like that game at all. And I really hope they don't fuck up the mechanics and try to incorporate anything from that game into the Metroid game. It doesn't look like it that much. Like you said, the counter looks more Team Ninja-esque. But I'm really afraid that we're going to get some floaty controls in that game. But we'll see.
No.
I'm still optimistic, though.
Yeah, I'm totally optimistic. I don't think they'll go... I can't... Having a Metroid game with floaty controls would be a fucking travesty. I don't think Nintendo would allow it. I think there are
sure hope so.
Yeah, there are serious gameplay testers who will be making sure that shit doesn't happen. So I think they'll knock it out the park. It's a Metroid game. I think Nintendo are going to be very, especially after Other M, I think Nintendo are going to be very harsh in the quality department on this one. But to speak to your other point, just talking about AMR2, firstly, he was doing it illegally, so he didn't have permission to do it, and
sure.
Nintendo took it down, which is their right to do. They did take it down, and they had it, like you say, they had a good reason because they were actually making Metroid 2 themselves. So that kind of disqualifies that. But also, I think it's difficult to be angry with that because I own AMR2. I have it. If there's any police out there, I'm lying. I don't have it, but I have it. So like the hardcore Metro fans, the really fucking hardcore Metro fans, like you and me, Human Metal, we have that game. We can play that game forever now. It's stored on our hard drives. We can play it. But now you have a new Metroid remake. So I think that argument holds no water because he did do it illegally. Like, and it's a shame. Of course, it's a shame. Nintendo should support their, especially stuff that was done with that much love and passion. Definitely. And I personally am looking forward to playing that. In fact, I might actually play that soon, and get a jump on playing the remake to kind of compare them just for my own shits and gigs. But like, you know, but I don't think like that can be complained about, like the treatment of that. I think it was a fair treatment in the circumstances, and plus,
Sure.
as hardcore Metroid fans, the only people who really would be interested in that game probably, let's face it, already have it. And
would be nice if they like,
Oh.
if for shits and giggles they put it like in, put the another Metroid 2 remake in on the same cartridge as their own, and like let you decide if you want to play both or something. But they will never do that. But still, that would be like the best move. That would be like everyone would be like, "Hey, Nintendo, thank you."
But that's like saying, you know, why don't we, you know, when we go to see like fucking Inside Out or something, why doesn't the stewardess come and give us a blowjob? That would be awesome.
That's a weird comparison.
It's a fair. But how? What?
Weird
Why?
analogy.
Okay, but can I give my 2 cents?
No.
It looks alright. It looks like a Metroid game. I think it's kind of weird that Metroid is one of those franchises, especially 2D Metroids, that they haven't made a 2D Metroid in like 15 years. Like an actual new. They've just been re-releasing or remastering or remaking, but they haven't made a new 2D Metroid games since Metroid Fusion in like 2002 or something.
But Bragg, to that point, I know you don't know a lot about Metroid, but Metroid Zero Mission was not so much as a remake as like a fucking, I don't know what it was. It was like it was awesome. It was fucking awesome. It was awesome, Bragg.
I'm not saying anything bad about Metroid Fusion. I'm just saying that it's weird that they haven't announced a new 2D Metroid game. It seems like there's like a lot of people asking for it. It seems like there are a lot of indie studios that are really good at making Metroid-like games. It seems like a easy call to like, okay, we're gonna hire this studio to make a 2D Metroid game, and we fix it up a little bit, and then we release that. But instead, they're just re-releasing the same game a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, if I was Nintendo, with that intense fandom on the line, I'd be making a Metroid game every 2 years. For fuck's sake! I mean, it can't be that hard to make I don't know. I'm not a coder. Don't shoot me. It can't be that hard to make a fantastic Metroid game. Or maybe it is, because many people have tried and failed. I don't know. But surely, like, not every, like, fucking, like Brax says, not every 15 years. For fuck's sake, come on, man. But, okay, so let's talk about the other Metroid reveal, which was, of course, Metroid Prime for the Nintendo Switch. So, first off, I promised myself, if there was a Metroid game announced for the Nintendo Switch, I would buy a Nintendo Switch. It's done. I'm buying a Nintendo Switch, not just for myself, but for my daughters too. But
can I be cynical?
Wait, no, Brack, you're not going to be cynical here, because I'm going to be cynical for you. But that reveal, what the fuck was that? What kind of ridiculous? I'm a huge Metroid fan, but even I was like, come on, what the fuck?
It was literally Nintendo yelling in our faces, we don't have anything yet.
Hey, you know what?
I'm telling you, get excited.
If that entire teaser, from beginning to end was leaked online, like before the press conference, everybody would have thought it was fake. Literally everybody.
Yeah.
It looks like a fan Photoshop.
Yeah. It was terrible. It was ridiculous. I mean, I'm a huge Metroid fan, but
it seems,
and it should be like I should be like jumping up and down, but I was like, oh, seriously, come on, that's fucking stupid.
Not even a CGI trailer or anything, but like, it seems like that they like focusing exactly on Choo-Choo. We're like, okay, we don't have anything yet, but we need people to buy the console now. So we're gonna announce it now, so more people will buy the console, even though this game has to be years away. Years. Because even we have games that were announced like 2 years ago, with like actual gameplay and shit that haven't been released today. Like Spider-Man had a gameplay trailer last year, and it's still not coming out till somewhere in the end of 2018. So what that means for Metroid Prime, who only has title, it means that it's gonna be like 3 to 4 years at least, right?
3 years maybe.
Well,
I
it
don't know.
depends.
It depends.
Like, some studios work faster than others, and it depends how many people is Nintendo throwing at that project. You can't really calculate that.
But
it depends how big they're gonna make it, and graphics and everything. We'll see.
But I would be shocked if that game was released within 2 years.
Yeah, me too. But still, it could happen. We don't know.
But to be fair, to the point of me buying a Wii U, it's not solely based on Metroid. Yeah, sorry, I already have a Wii U.
You already made that mistake. Yeah.
I already had a Wii U, and that was a mistake. That was like my second child, a big mistake. I'm joking. If you ever, I love you so much, Junon-chan. Fucking hell.
Okay, but yeah.
But no. But yeah, the Wii U was a shit console. I throw my hands up. I recently bought like the Breath of the Wild as well for my daughter for the Wii U because she was interested in it. I thought, fuck it, why not? If she's interested in an obviously good game, why not get it for her? So I got that for her. But so that immediately takes away from the one good game for the Switch. But I have looked at the Switch, and there are enough interesting things coming down the pipeline that I immediately think, straight out the gate, the Switch is going to have more classic games than the fucking Wii U had in its entire lifetime within its first year or so. So, there's a good Kirby game coming, there's a good Mario game coming, there's Metroid coming, there's already a good Zelda game on it, so there's a fucking great Mario Kart game on it. So, it's... And plus, for children, you can take that thing outside. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but my daughter likes to socialize with her friends. She can take that outside and go play Mario Kart with her friends. Hey, I'm all down
While
for that.
you are screaming, where the fuck is my Switch?
Who fucking took my Switch? I told you! Yeah, I don't know. I want to play Metroid. No. But basically, obviously, when you're a father, it's a bit different. So I'm also looking out for my children here, and I think the Switch, especially with considering my daughter's social requirements, would be a very good boon for our family. Plus, I can play Metroid on it. So, anyway, Metroid Prime 4. Let me get down to brass tacks here. It's a weird one because Metroid Prime, the original Metroid Prime, was fucking brilliant. It was one of the best games of all time. Still, if I had to compile a list of top 10 games of all time, Metroid Prime would be in that list, no questions asked. The second one, though, was lesser. It was still good, but man, it was hard as fucking nails, but it was slightly lesser than the original. And Metroid Prime 3, I know some people like it, I didn't like it. So that series for me was really a series of diminishing returns. So I don't really know what to expect from Metroid Prime 4. Where they're going to go, what they're going to do. I mean, we don't have any answers. I assume they're going to do the pointy sort of like Metroid Prime 3S motion control thing. I'm not a fan, even though ironically it did work really well. We'll have to see where it goes, but I'm much more excited about the 2D Metroid than Metroid Prime 4. As a Metroid fan, quickly, where are you on that?
I don't know. I will have to wait and see. I was like you. The first game is my favorite, but I still found things to like about the second and third one. Like the second for me had a stronger ending, and the third one for me a stronger beginning. Yeah, I'll wait and see. It's really weird that they're going back to Prime for other reasons, when Other M came out, the original creator of Metroid worked on, Metroid Prime disappeared from the website, in terms of this is not canon of the story anymore, even though it was supposed to be a prequel storyline for Samus and everything. And apparently the creator decided, no, it's not anymore. So it feels like, why would they go back to Prime then? So it's really weird. It feels like, okay, what was the last big success in terms of Metroid for us? Okay, the Prime series. All right, let's go back to that. We don't have any concept yet or where we want to take the story or anything. Just to tease this.
I totally agree with you, Human Metal. You know what? I'm slightly slurred, so I'm not really making my points well. But the fucking hell, Metroid Other M had some serious faults with it, especially in the storytelling. But if you fucking build on that, if you build on what was good about Metroid Other M, you can make a really good game. Have another stab at it. Just because it kind of like failed and sank, there were really good elements. If you take Team Ninja's kind of like mechanics, right, and kind of build on them and actually make a storyline that's actually good for a change, and don't fucking limit your exploration to a small box. Like, you could really do serious damage in the Metroid franchise by making a fucking good game with that format. I think that had more potential making a sequel to Other M, a good sequel to Other M, than making another sequel to Metroid Prime, which I think is
also
more limited.
that story seemed to be over, so I don't know why there is that. Like that trilogy had like a pretty tight, arc, and that's that.
Yeah.
So why would you make a number 4? I don't know. They should have just called it something else.
Please don't bring
we'll
back...
see. Maybe it'll get a new name. Maybe it won't be even Metroid Prime 4 in like a year or something. We'll see. Maybe it will be something else. We'll see. We haven't seen anything yet.
Let's talk about another part.
Wait,
We should though.
Wait. One more thing I need to say about Metroid, and that is no more fucking Phazon, please. Brack, go.
Okay, I'm talking about God of War 4 ? Because I think they're not just calling it God of War. I'm pretty sure.
Well, technically, Ascension could have been considered the 4th part.
Fuck that. So I've actually played every single God of War game, literally all of them. I'm talking about God of War 1, 2, 3, Ascension, the 2 PSP games. I played all those games. Huh? Yes, I played all of them.
All right.
I'm actually a pretty huge fan of God of War, but I agree that it very much feels like a product of its time. Kratos as a character feels very outdated. He's like this brutal...
He was outdated when he appeared in those games, like when those games came out.
But not when I was like a teenager. It felt outdated for me. It felt fucking badass, dude.
You were the target audience.
I was definitely the target audience. And I really enjoyed those games. The fun gameplay, the story in the beginning was pretty good. And then it just got crazy, and Kratos got a little bit unlikable, a little bit over the top. But this seems like a huge change. The new God of War very much feels like a redemption storyline. Actually, unlike other games of other stories that are about redemption, here you actually have played through the parts of the stuff he has to redeem himself for.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's pretty interesting to me. But the game just looks amazing. Graphically looks amazing. The voice acting, the story looks very much like an improvement. Looks great. The combat looks different. I like the new setting where it's more of the Norse gods, and they play into that with the story that he just the people talk shit to him that he is like a Greek person. Aren't you supposed to be more dignified and classy and stuff like
Racism.
that? Yes. And he can't understand the language, so his son, who's a big part of the game for both in the story but also in the gameplay, has to translate the people talking to him or hieroglyphs. They have his son has to translate it for him. So there's going to be a huge element of him and his son growing together more, and having growing up and him caring for his son more. So it's going to be interesting to maybe Kratos showing his humanity more by the end of the game. I'm interested in all of that, and the gameplay just looks amazing. And I love this is one of the things that God of War does better than any other series, is showing scale. And then you have this part of the trailer where you first see the I think it's the World Eater or something, this huge snake from the Norse legend, and you first see his eye only, and his eye is way bigger than Kratos, just Kratos, and that eye is huge, and then you just see the entire snake, and it just looks amazing. And they have this twist where you don't have to fight the snake is there to help you. So I'm interested in how that plays out. I just really want to play that game. It just looks amazing.
Me too.
I just really want to play it right now.
It looks really good. Yeah, looking forward to it a lot. I've only played through God of War 1, 2, 3, but I enjoyed those games for what they were. But this one looks better. Just saying this because now actually giving Kratos some depth and everything. They tried that with God of War 3, but it didn't really work out. But yeah, like you said, it's interesting that we played the shitty asshole version of Kratos, and now we get to play I was a shitty asshole person, I'm trying to make good now, and that's cool. That feels there's a history there. There's something I experienced myself, through Kratos and everything. So that's cool.
Perfect moment in the trailer as well, where they were talking about his history, and you see like they saw like this face of, and they saw like an old picture of Kratos, like artwork, and it's like he looked at it, and it's like, oh man, he feels ashamed of who he was. So you could see it on his face there.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm really excited to see how they play with that.
And the stuff with the sun gives me like a bit of Last of Us vibes, and that's really good too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Like you said, Norse God stuff is interesting too. I wonder what they do with that setting. I hope we get some really interesting and giant scale set pieces in there. And yeah, looking forward to swinging that axe.
For my 2 cents, not a huge God of War fan. In fact, I sort of actively disliked God of War 3. However, like that's a game I own. Like I still have in the closet. So I think probably I'm going to give that another chance, God of War 3, very soon. In fact, that actually might be the next game on my list now, thinking about it.
But I think you don't even need to give it another chance to enjoy the new one.
No,
because
I don't.
Because it seems like gameplay-wise, it seems completely different. And story-wise, it's got to be a completely different tone as well.
I'd see what you're saying, Bragg, but the fact is, like, I should go back and replay that game because many people liked it, right? You liked God of War 3, didn't you?
But it's not my favorite God of War game. 2 is the better one.
Oh shit. Well, I may or may not go back and play 3 because I was a huge Soul Reaver fan, and like kind of God of War seems like a sort of natural progression on from Soul Reaver. But anyway, my opinions on the 4th one, like. Redemption arcs, when they're deserved, are probably some of the best character arcs of anything. I mean, who doesn't love a good redemption story, right? The badass that did bad things, becoming good, and then using his badassery for the power of good. I mean, that's awesome. That's just awesome. It makes for some of the best movies of all time. And second of all, that son is getting killed. He's getting killed.
I don't think so.
I'm betting on Kratos getting killed by the end.
Really? No. That son's gonna be the one thing holding Kratos back, and then he's gonna get killed, or Kratos is gonna be reluctant to return to his old ways. It's gonna be like trying to strive for the path of good. Son's gonna die. Kratos is gonna go badass at the end, kill everything. That's what's going to happen. I'm calling it right now. We'll see. But yeah, I'm interested in that game. To be honest, with that type of storytelling, with that type of arc, I'm more interested than I ever have been in the God of War series. Yeah, maybe depending on the reviews and people's reception of it. If it gets really fucking good reception and people are really enjoying it, I will probably pick that up and give it another try because it, from a story point alone, it does look like a really fucking very good, like it could be very emotionally involving and exciting and just wonderful thing. And also the whole gods and monsters things, I love it. It's great. I always loved that. That's why I wanted to play God of War 3, but it just, the jumping mechanics killed me. Those jumping mechanics are fucking terrible.
Yeah,
let's be honest there. They are awful. Yeah, so that was our second round of really great things. Nope, Human Metal still has a choice. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little drunk. Human Metal, go. What's your third choice? Second choice. Second choice.
Yeah.
I just want to add that if anybody took a shot whenever Chucho says, "Oh, I'm a little bit drunk," they would have like liver problems by now.
I am making that an official. Wait. I'm making that an official Radiophonic Sea Creatures rule right now. If you're at home and you have access to alcohol, you take a shot whenever I say, "Sorry, I'm a little drunk." It's official. The Radiophonic
you will kill people.
The Radiophonic
police that you heard will come for you. I mean, it's even longer to get to Japan, but still.
Yeah. Good luck for those motherfuckers to drive their police cars across the sea.
Anyway, my second pick for good game, quick one. We were talking about a bad fighting game before, Marvel's Capcom Infinite. Let's talk about a good one, or a promising one at least, and that's surprisingly enough a Dragon Ball game. What? Anyway, yeah. Dragon Ball FighterZ has been announced pretty much out of nowhere for E3, and it's done by the people who made the Guilty Gear and BlazBlue series. And it looks exactly like that. It looks like the newest Guilty Gear game, Guilty Gear Xrd, which means it looks fantastic. It looks like like you want a Dragon Ball, like you want an anime game to look. It looks fantastic. They put even more effort into certain stage transitions, into special moves, into particle effects and everything. Like if you block incoming attacks, like the characters swap the projectiles into the background of the stage and stuff explodes there, like buildings and everything. It's amazing. It looks great. The fighting looks like a bit of a Guilty Gear Light right now, but it looks a lot of fun. And the game is only like, I'm looking at the trailer and then later on I read the game is only 20% done, and it already looks that good. And I'm like looking at Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite on the other side, like, what the fuck happened? It's also a 3 versus 3 fighter. So it feels like a serious contender, like for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, for like the throne of spectacle fighter at the fighting game tournaments. And like that, if you look at the photograph from the booth of that game, there were a ton of Best of E3 awards after E3 was over at that booth, because so many people were enjoying that game, were enjoying the fuck out of the game, and were really impressed with the visuals. So was I. Really looking forward to that game. I can't wait. It looks really good, and I can't wait to play it. Closed beta soon. I hope I get into that one, because man, that looks like a lot of fun.
Well, a couple of points. Number one, I know nothing about Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. I have literally never watched the anime, so I'm not interested on that level. Number two, one of my students literally asked me today, can you Kamehameha, or whatever it's called. I was just like, the fuck are you talking about? Also, BlazBlue and Guilty Gear are awesome. So I don't really know where to come off on that. I mean, if I knew Dragon Ball Z a bit better,
you could watch the trailer.
I'd certainly be better. I'd certainly be more interested if I knew more about Dragon Ball. You can watch the trailer, but if you don't know the characters, if you go into it like a Marvel game and you don't know who the fuck Iron Man is,
but,
like what?
You don't know who the fuck the characters from BlazBlue are. Let's be honest. Those characters stand on their own, and I think the Dragon Ball characters are pretty like interesting designs. It's just in general, they're interesting designed characters. So if you're just looking for it as a fighting game, it would work as well.
You know what,
like
Brack?
Before playing Street Fighter, you don't know anything about Ken or whatever, or Ryu or whatever. So it's not necessary to know anything about those characters for a fighting game, I think.
You know what, Brack? You know what I'm going to say to you right now, you son of a bitch? That's a very interesting point.
But for me, it adds a lot of value, because I actually grew up watching Dragon Ball. I literally think that Dragon Ball is the first steps to me learning English, because that was one of the first cartoons that they on the television that they didn't show dubbed. They only showed it in English with subtitles. So just like that's how I learned English, like for like very basic English. And I really like that series. Like, it's not a good series, I think. I know that I like it mostly because of nostalgia, because I know that series that moves very slowly and stuff like that. But if I watched it these days, I wouldn't enjoy it at all. But because of nostalgia, I really have a warm place in my heart for that franchise. And I enjoy the abridged series, though. That's great. The abridged series. And I really like those characters, because I really know those characters because of watching the shows, like the abridged series of watching the show a long time ago. So I love those characters. And this fighting game looks amazing. It literally looks better graphically than the show has ever looked.
Yeah,
easily. It looks way better than the show has ever looked. It's insane, and I can't wait. It just looks amazing. And I've heard that the fighting is a little bit more accessible than Guilty Gear, which for me, as somebody who's played a little bit of Guilty Gear and a shit at it, that's good. So I can wait, and I really can enjoy it.
Yeah, we're gonna face off in that game, like gonna get a few matches in whenever that comes out.
Yeah, it definitely is going to go like gangbusters over here in Japan, because the Dragon Ball Z series always is heavily publicized and really heavily bought, so it's going to be super successful over in Japan.
Well, there's a new series on Japanese TV right now, Dragon Ball Super, so that franchise is still going strong after all these years. So yeah,
it's really. Don't you find it's really fucking ironic? I'm the person who lives in Japan and has the most connection with Japanese culture, yet I know the least about anime and manga and all that type of shit. It's kind of a weird juxtaposition.
True.
Isn't
Just
it?
because you have 50 Japanese girlfriends doesn't mean you're connected to Japanese culture necessarily.
Human metal, yes, it does.
Good point.
That's
Good
no,
point.
it's
Let's move on.
literally a bad point. Yes, it does. God damn. I can tell you more about Japanese history than you can, Human Metal. And more
true.
about the actual inner workings of Japanese society. But goddamn, I throw my hands up. I do not know anything about anime or manga. Okay, so
You're more invested in the more substantial topics rather than the pop culture stuff.
as in, what color is your pussy hair? So anyway, we're gonna get on to the next thing, where we're gonna talk about the WTF moments of E3. Yeah. So what was the moment that made you think, what the fuck? What? Like, all right, let's go for it. So I'm gonna go first again, segueing off my own fucking rambling incoherence. I'm a little drunk. Take a shot, you motherfuckers. Yeah. So my WTF moment is the no-shows. The things that you really wanted to see from E3, they just weren't there. They just were not. They literally do not exist right now. Especially after coming off the back of last year's E3, you had some major revelations. Specifically, let's talk specifics here. Final Fantasy VII and Shenmue 3. Where were they? What? They made such a huge fucking deal of revealing them. I'm a little drunk. Please excuse me. But take a shot, you motherfuckers. But yeah, they made a huge thing of revealing them, and then they showed nothing this year. It's like they don't even exist. It's like they've disappeared from existence. With Shenmue 3, to be honest,
Shenmue barely exists. Let's be honest.
That's what I'm saying with Shenmue 3. It's like smoke through the fingers. It's like fucking Size the Koze or whatever his name is from the fucking Usual Suspects. It doesn't exist. Smoke through the fingers. But so Shenmue 3 wasn't there. That's a huge disappointment for me personally. Final Fantasy VII showed nothing. That's a huge disappointment for me. Red Dead Redemption 2, like they announced it, they showed nothing. Like,
but Rockstar is never at E3, right?
Well, they're fucking rock stars, so what can you say? They can do whatever they want. But hey, let's just send out that message to the people who were not there at E3. I expected to see something, and there's a little part of my heart that's sad to not see that. I really wanted to see something from Shenmue. I wanted to see Shenmue come out and say, "Hey, look, this is Shenmue 3!" Wah! But no, it wasn't there.
My hope is that they're still keeping some interesting stuff because they didn't have that much on their plate this year for PlayStation Experience in fall. And maybe we get to see the games then, but I still wouldn't count on it because I am pretty sure both those games are have barely started development. No, I don't think they're canceled. But I think it will be a while until we see them in a finished state.
Yeah,
so imagine how long it took them to make Final Fantasy 15. So
it took them more. Hey, you're saying Final Fantasy 15? I'm waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. There's that too, right?
Kingdom Hearts 3, that's like, I think the last game I played that game, I was like 12. I've doubled in age since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out.
And the guy who worked on Kingdom Hearts 3 was also announced as the director of the Final Fantasy VII remake, and was really surprised that he was announced because he didn't know anything about that. So yeah, you see that seemed like kind of a surprise on several fronts. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm still optimistic that we will get those games, but
I'm pretty
don't count on it in the next 2 to 3 years.
I'm pretty sure that out of those games, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the one that's going to be released the earliest.
Oh yeah, sure,
for sure.
Cancelled. For sure, cancelled. They're all getting cancelled.
Let's talk about another game. It's not a big what the WWF for moment for me, and it's probably also going to be a few years out, which is Anthem, the new EA BioWare game, which also, in the beginning,
also known as Destiny 3.
that's one of the. It looked at the beginning, it's like, oh my god, this looks amazing, right? It looks very pretty, and then you feel like freaking Iron Man flying through the Avatar world. You see some Na'vi somewhere around, I think, and it's like, oh my god, this looks amazing. And then like, oh my god, this is just Destiny. Only this is third-person Destiny, and then I got a little bit disappointed because I know how it goes for me. I'm not buying. I don't buy games on launch. So what happens is that everybody I know that plays those games are going to be level 568 or something, while I'm still level 1, and I'm going to play a mission with them, and they like, and I will get like shot once, like an enemy looks at me wrong, and I will be dead, and they will just like walk through their fires like nothing is going on, and it's going to be like not fun for me at all. But maybe
they probably can't even play. They probably can't even play with you if it's a proper MMO because of level barriers, or they get downscaled or something if they want to do a dungeon with you. I don't know.
The Fission and Destiny didn't do those things.
Okay.
They didn't. They did a little bit, but not good enough.
All right.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I might play it. It looks beautiful, and it was a good surprise. So, but there's a good chance. That's a good chance. That like some of these, sometimes you get an announcement of a game and like, oh my god, this looks amazing. Like Watch Dogs 1 the first time, but by the time the game released, it just looks like as good as every other game that's released around the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So and since this is a BioWare game who have kind of a spotty track record in terms of graphic quality in certain parts, and especially when it comes to facial animation stuff. I mean, the newest one wasn't by the main studio, and this is by the main BioWare guys, so. Probably a high quality level, but still, like, I heard this game looked for me too good to be a BioWare game. Yes. Like, I was like, huh? What? This can't be right.
I enjoyed that the game starts, like, the gameplay starts immediately with showing facial animations. Like, okay, this facial animation in this game is going to look good. They're not going to look like
do it. We can do it.
We can actually do this shit.
Yeah. Also, God, one of the things that irritated me was, again, why are they still doing this? They put, like, this fake chatter into like chat conversation into the game, like people talking on headsets, and first I was like, okay, this is part of the story, and then I started to say some weird things. No, they're supposed to be like real life players, and this is just a recording of their playthrough, but it felt way too scripted and too fake and everything. Why do they still keep doing it? You can always like hear that it's not like a real, that's not how people talk when they're playing games. Stop doing that. Nobody's doing it. Everyone is cursing at each other, and everyone is like saying, I'll fuck your mom and stuff like that. And, people are not nice online.
Like you say, Human Metal, basically, in that demo, it's like, there's a party of 3 coming over in the corner there.
Yeah.
Okay, frag out.
On your
everybody,
6! On your 6!
Like that. Where Brack and I are playing Overwatch, it's like, Brack, where the fuck are you? Where the fuck are you on me? I was fucking over here, man. You said, fuck you, Brack.
I said down the stairs, you idiot. I said down the stairs, not up the stairs.
Well, I can't, Brack, where the fuck are you? I told you, mate, call out your position. I can't fucking keep on your back unless you tell me where I am, Brack, you stupid git. Look, where are you? Are you dead already? Well, fuck you, Brack, you weren't there.
Don't go in the room, they're gonna kill you. And then he just walks
into
the room.
I didn't fucking... Brack, you didn't tell me that before I went in the room, you twat. If you told me before I fucking went in there, mate, I wouldn't have gone in there, you stupid. That's how it goes. But it's not like, there's a gang of 3 coming over on the right. Okay, frag out. Everybody, get behind cover. It doesn't work like that in real life. When you see that, it's immediately, as a gamer, you're just like, that's bullshit.
You should record your Overwatch matches and upload them to our YouTube channel.
Basically, our Overwatch matches are like this. Basically, run something like this. Brack, I'll stay behind you. Okay. Oh, look, we killed everybody, Brack. Great, thanks, Brack. Use you as a human shield. Basically, I've literally told Brack, the way our strategy works is you are the human shield. I stay behind you. And
I did that. The search is gone, by the way, now, so...
that's good stuff.
Okay, let's talk to you, WTF mode at the moment, Human Metal.
All right.
So I don't get an opinion on the Anthem. Oh, thanks. Fuck you guys then. Okay, carry on, Human Metal.
Well, did you have to say something about Anthem?
Well, no.
All right.
Okay, my what the fuck moment was just Ubisoft is making a Mario game for the Switch, which is Mario and Rabbids. I know the Rabbids franchise had some games in it. I wasn't really interested in those because those characters looked like, okay, those are supposed to appeal to very small children or stuff like that with the slapstick humor. Well, slapstick humor and everything.
Now, I don't want to be controversial here, so please forgive me. But they look like retarded or spastic rabbits.
A bit, yes. But I was never interested in those characters, so when I heard there was going to be a Mario game that crossed over with those specifically, I was like, okay, I'm not interested. Then came the Ubisoft press conference, and Yves Guillemot getting on stage, and then calling out Shigeru Miyamoto, and Shigeru Miyamoto brought the guns from that game, and they like stood back to back, and just the fucking guns on their arms. Like, what is this? This is so fucking weird. Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto being at Ubisoft and everything, and with those characters. So yeah, that was just like a very weird, surreal moment for me. Like that felt so, I don't know, out of nowhere. But the game looks actually rather good, which I was surprised at, both graphically and gameplay-wise. So we'll see. But yeah, that was just a really weird moment for me, in terms of, okay, weird crossover on all levels.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, granted, to be honest, I haven't studied the gameplay or any of that stuff. But I hear from the commentators that I generally watch on YouTube that the game was great and everybody's really excited about it. But
yeah,
the simple thought of Mario attacking like mentally impaired rabbits just seems kind of like
with a
wrong
gun,
to me.
by the way.
Yeah, with a gun. I mean, what?
Nintendo has changed.
Yeah, but he's disabled. Get him!
But you know what I kind of like? It's kind of like the image of like Rayman, because Rayman's come from Rayman. Rayman just somewhere sitting alone, like Seth Affleck, that Ben Affleck said like that. Because it's like, yes, oh my God, we're gonna work together with Mario. Oh my God, yes, and then oh, it's the rabbits. Not Rayman.
Yeah, he'll be holding the fucking rabbit's bag somewhere in the back.
Yes, it's like the Sonic and Mario at the Olympics, but the only character who appears is like Knuckles. Sonic is just up from there, just doing his own thing.
Well, basically, if they make a Paralympics, those rabbits are first in line.
But I know why they bring those rabbits back, because they look a lot like the minions from Despicable Me, and those things are insanely popular. Like, I don't know why
ever,
but they're super fucking popular.
Yeah, I have
and
no
that's
idea why, but...
So yeah, that's why they bring those rabbits back, because they're kind of basically the same thing.
I'm going to tell you a secret now. My ex-girlfriend used to call me a minion because I'm bald, and used to literally count the hairs on my head. Fucking bitch. God damn it.
Well, Minion, what is your last pick for a good game from E3?
Yes, okay, so let's talk about the fucking cream of the crop. Let's talk about the cream of the crop. So, the best thing for me from E3 was Assassin's Creed Origins. Bam, 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 bam. Yes, so... so Assassin's Creed Origins looks amazing. It really does. I'm a tentative Assassin's Creed fan, so I don't want to delve into too much detail. But the first bunch of Assassin's Creeds I loved. The first one was, great, but had a lot of really bad things about it. The second one was great, but had a lot of bad things about it. And then you had the kind of really good ones like Brotherhood and Revelations. I know a lot of people didn't like Revelations. I loved it. And then you had the terrible games, like Assassin's Creed 3, which was just awful and totally burned out. I was dealing with burnout from playing so many Assassin's Creed games in quick succession. And then you had like 3,
Unity,
which is just awful. Yeah, and
Black Flag.
Black Flag
was supposed to be good though.
No.
It is pretty good.
No, well, Black 3.
It's like one part is good.
Yeah.
And the other part is like the worst of Assassin's Creed. You know
yes,
what I mean?
exactly what Brack says. The sea stuff is brilliant. The Assassin's Creed stuff on land is shit. I couldn't deal with the Assassin's Creed stuff on land, so I couldn't deal with it. But yeah.
Unity, that was also shit.
Yeah, Unity was also shit. But basically, I had lost all interest. There was enough bad games, enough bad elements there for me to totally lose faith with that franchise. And then there was Assassin's Creed Syndicate, a game which I'm on the cusp of finishing right now as we speak. I'm maxed out on all levels on Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I'm level 10. I've maxed out all my skill trees. I'm on the final chapter. I'm closing in on the end game. It's all good. And Assassin's Creed Syndicate was great. It was a real return to form. More than a return to form. It was literally the best Assassin's Creed game ever made. It was great.
I agree, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, nostalgia be damned. It was great. So now we have the new one, which they've taken a couple years off, and they've really, from what I understand, because like obviously preparing for this podcast, I've really gone in depth to sort of like know what I'm speaking about here. But they've really gone for it with Assassin's Creed Origins. They've basically taken the Assassin's Creed formula and then taken The Witcher 3 and mashed them together. So they've added a proper combat system in there, which is kind of like Dark Souls, more like combat heavy. So you've now got like a proper dodge and dash button to get out the way of attacks. It's much more visceral in fighting and defending. Also, they've added a whole bunch of new weapons in there, like for example, a homing arrow, for example. Like you fire.
He does with the arrow what the guys in Wanted do with bullets.
Yeah,
Like he uses like bullet time, and he controls the arrow, even though it can go just around walls and stuff like that. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, it's nothing new in video games, but they've added that section. So basically, what I'm getting at is the combat here is not this simple, wait until someone tries to attack you and then fucking hit the reverse button and then just spam the attack button until they die. It's not that anymore. It's going to have a proper legitimate combat thing. The stealth has been improved, obviously. If you watch the videos, they've got the Far Cry meter where the meter appears over their head to tell you whether you've been discovered or not. So that adds a lot of kind of more elements.
And Syndicate actually has good stealth. Like Syndicate is literally, no joking, the first Assassin's Creed game with good stealth.
Yeah, Brack's not
a game
joking.
about assassins doesn't have had good stealth till like the 7th game or something. It's kind of insane actually, but they had good stealth finally. So at least I hope they bring that good stealth back for this one.
Absolutely, and I think they will. Absolutely, they seem to have that in line. Also, you have the fact of like you have other things like controlling animals and using the kind of falcon, like the drone in Watch Dogs, and like tagging enemies and stuff. You have little things like that from other Ubisoft games, like from Far Cry or from Watch Dogs, the things that worked. Plus, they are adding mini quests like The Witcher 3. They've gone on record saying we want this to be more like The Witcher 3, where you get into a mini quest and it goes deeper than you would expect. So they're properly adding a proper RPG element with skill sets. For example, you can't stealth kill anybody who's above your level in that game. You need to level up to stealth kill those enemies. So it's going to lock some areas off for you, like The Witcher, for example, before you get to the required level that is available. And plus they've talked about bigger story elements, much deeper quests, and the for example the play size is literally the size of the Caribbean. They've come out and said, except the water isn't there, it's just land. There is some water in it too. So they're pushing hard for Origins to be more than the original Assassin's Creed game. They're aiming it for a much more like in-depth RPG experience, with like side quests, main quests, like one of those games that just fucking absorbs you when you dive into it completely, 100%. And I'm down for that. Assassin's Creed, it needed a change. It's got it. Although I love Syndicate, like it's a great game, but they really needed to kind of push the boundaries, and they're going for it with this game. They're going 100% doubling down on that, trying to make a masterpiece. I love that. And plus the setting is brilliant. Who doesn't want to explore ancient Egypt? I know I do. I love history. I want to explore ancient Egypt. And they got the whole supernatural element too. You see at one point one of the characters in the trailer like fighting a basilisk or something. Something that doesn't exist in the real world. That's awesome. What do you guys think about Assassin's Creed Origins and the things I've said?
I have some problems with it. Well, not problems, worries, because they said they took a year off, yes, but they also said that they started working on this around the same time as Unity, which was still a shit game. So
Yeah.
if they started working around that time, did they have the time to learn actually from the stuff that worked well in Syndicate?
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about, that they
think so.
didn't have that time.
Well, no.
And besides that,
Maybe they didn't have time to learn from the stuff that works in Syndicate, but they definitely had this time to learn from the stuff that didn't work in Unity.
oh yeah, that's let's hope so, because that game is horrible. But yeah, I like the setting. It looks interesting. It could be fun. I probably, if the reviews are good, I'm gonna check it out. I still like Assassin's Creed franchise, but I'm also still a little bit fatigued for it. So if the reviews are good, then I will probably still wait a couple months for them to fix it, because it's a Ubisoft game and it's always broken at launch. So yeah. But yeah, I'm open to it. I'm open to playing it, but I'm not hyped for it.
I am pretty hyped. I think it was, like I say, it's my game of E3. It's the game I'm most looking forward to. Human Metal, you looking incredibly bored and looking at your watch. And
No,
thinking,
I'm not
where
bored.
the fuck's the time's going?
I'm listening to you guys. No, I'm just not interested in the Assassin's Creed franchise. That's all. It's interesting hearing you guys talk about it and everything, but I'm never gonna play those games. I played a bit of the first one and I was like, okay, that's nice. I don't care, and that's that. And with every game after that, I was like, okay, I should maybe try out the second one, and then I didn't get to it, and there got more and more games, like one game every year, and now there's so many Assassin's Creed games, and we're like, maybe I'll try this one, but probably not. So yeah, it looks cool. It definitely looks like a cool game, but I think that's not a franchise I'm ever gonna get invested in. So I'm excited to hear you guys talk about it in the future whenever you get to play it. But yeah, I'm not gonna try it out.
Oh, Human Metal, go to the budget bin and pick up a copy of Syndicate. It's great. Really is. It's great.
I think you actually might enjoy it, especially because you don't have the Assassin's Creed fatigue. Then you will see Syndicate on its own, and it's actually a good game.
Yeah, it's fun as fuck.
But it's no like Horizon or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, Horizon is next for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to say
Horizon
that
is next
I'm
for
gonna,
me too.
I'm gonna give Origins. It's Origins, right? It's called Origins. I give it another like. I really liked Watch Dogs 2, so I think Ubisoft still has it in them to improve on their previous work and do good stuff in it. Because Watch Dogs 2 was a huge surprise for me, so I hope that Origins is going to be like just as enjoyable for me as that game was.
You know what, Brack? I just remembered a point I wanted to make about Assassin's Creed Origins. Please excuse me, I'm a little drunk. Take a shot. But one of the things I wanted to say about that game is ambition. Like, the company have real hardcore ambition. You can see you can feel they really, really want to make something good, not just for money grab. They're trying to push the boundaries real hard. They're trying to do the very, very best that they can do with that game. And whether or not that ambition succeeds or not is another thing. But you can appreciate the fact that for the first time in a while with Assassin's Creed, they're going for it. They're going all in on it. So we'll see how it turns out. But they really want to kind of transform that from the Assassin's Creed, from the basic things that Assassin's Creed were, to more towards something like an RPG like The Witcher 3. So we'll see how it works out. But you can't really fault the ambition of that. I mean, that's got to be a huge money taking, it's got to be a huge investment for them and a risk for them to do that, to really push the franchise like that. We'll see how it plays out, but you can't argue with that ambition that they're going for. They're really fucking going for that, for success there. So anyway, let's head on to the next thing. So Human Metal, what's number one for your E3 experience?
Number one for me is
taking a slash into John. Just got to say, taking a slash into John.
Nope. Super Mario Odyssey is another game that has been announced for the Switch, and that already got a promising trailer on a previous Nintendo Direct, but they brought a new one and a lot of gameplay to two big stages to E3, so we got to see a lot of stuff, and the trailer just was really amazing in the sense of that it started like something nobody knew that was the Mario trailer. Everyone was like looking at grass and, oh, is this Monster Hunter? Or is this another RPG
Xenoblade.
or something? Xenoblade again. And then a T-Rex runs, into the camera. And we're like, what is this? So this got to be Monster Hunter. And then you see the camera zooms around, and suddenly there's Mario's cap on the fucking T-Rex, and Mario jumps out of it, and everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? So it turns out Mario can actually possess not everything, but a lot of things in that game, like people, things, cars, whatever. Yeah, he can because his cap apparently is inhabited by a ghost or something, and it's crazy. Like, this game looks super weird, even for a Mario game. Like, there's so much crazy stuff in it, and I can't wait to explore those worlds. Like, it looks like a really, really cool 3D Mario game, and we hadn't had something like that since, Mario Galaxy 2. And even in terms of just, those were streamlined, the Galaxy games. So just in terms of having a bigger hub world that you explore with Mario, that hasn't been done since Super Mario Sunshine, I think. So yeah, the mechanics look fun. Everything about the world looks fun. There's a lot of fan service in there, like Pauline, the woman you save in the first Donkey Kong game, is the mayor of the first city you go to. Like, crazy stuff. That game looks amazing. That game looks like a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get it for the Switch. And it comes out earlier than I expected. It comes out at the end of October already. God damn, this year. A lot of good games this year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That is a fantastic looking and fun looking game, and I can't wait to explore this weird shit. The bad guys in this game are like these also weird rabbits. Who are apparently our evil wedding planning company who helped Bowser marry Peach for some reason, and you have to fight him to get Peach back. It's super dumb, but it looks amazing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, it was some crazy shit.
Yeah,
I have to say, the game looks great. It looks really fun. It looks amazingly fun. I really like the new mechanic of like the heads, like you throw a head at somebody and possess them. Even though that goes around like a little bit fucked up though.
Yeah.
Especially when you see the human characters. So like just throw a head on them and then you're that human character. And what can you just leave them on like whenever? Like, can you take the human character, walk them up to like a cliff or like middle of the road, like, and then just like take out and just like smash their car or something?
You sick.
And how does it look like?
Sick fuck, bro. Your mind immediately goes there.
How will you recognize now if it's a Kirby that has like eaten a Mario, or if it's a Mario that's possessing a Kirby? I don't know.
You see it with the mustache.
Oh yeah, he has a mustache. Okay, there's at least a little bit of difference.
If it's possessed, there is a mustache on whatever Mario has possessed. That's how you know.
Like the tip of my dick.
Okay.
Okay, that's
all right.
It's a weird thing to say.
It fits with the weird tone of the game. I'd be surprised to see that in there, though.
Nobody remembers the intro to this episode, do they? Fuck it. Yeah. Well, basically, I'm all down for that. I think that I love Mario along with Human Metal. I don't know if Brack loves Mario or not. Brack, you're a bit too young to love Mario, right?
I don't love Mario in a sexual way, like you guys. If that's what you try to say.
Yes, Brad, because I don't know what you think about old school
You were
gamers,
talking about your dick. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, we all buggered our brothers in Luigi costumes.
No, I do enjoy Mario. I played 64. I played Mario 64.
That's your problem, Brack. When you were young, you were playing 64. I was playing 69.
Oh God.
But anyway, so the new Mario game looks great. I agree with you completely. I think it's been to be honest, it's a real shame of mine, but I didn't play Mario Galaxy. I completely skipped that because I wasn't really involved with the Wii so much. Ironically though, I do actually have that in the cupboard. I do have Mario Galaxy, and I've played about 5 minutes of it. What can you say?
I have Mario.
As an adult, you just don't have time to play certain games. That said, as I said before, I'm really considering getting a Switch. I think that Mario Odyssey is going to be the game I pick up with the Switch, so that's going to probably set back my purchase of the Switch to October.
It's not too far off, though.
Yeah, it's not too far off. I'm probably going to get that Mario Odyssey with the Switch. It looks like a really, really fun game. I mean, how can you not like throwing your cap at a T-Rex and taking control of a T-Rex with the basically with the pedigree that you have in the Mario series? How fun and polished those games generally are. How can that not be fun to be able to possess all types of characters? It's gonna be a shit ton of fun. It's just gonna be a really, really fun platform game. Can't wait to play it. Looking forward to it. Nothing much else to say. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Much.
Yeah.
Break, are you gonna get a Switch for that?
Probably not. Like
I wasn't expecting you to.
No. It's one of the few games on the Switch that I'm interested in playing. I hope I will can borrow it for somebody or something, or play it somewhere else, or like.
Right.
What I always want to do with a console that I'm not that interested in is wait till it's like cheap and then buy it and then buy the best games for it. But like I said, Nintendo doesn't really go down in price with consoles or games, so it will always stay expensive. So I probably won't play it until it's like emulated for the PC.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, basically, Nintendo just doesn't go down in general. I mean, if I saw Miyamoto go down on his wife, I'd be incredibly surprised. He doesn't do that. Let's be honest there. So what's the
maybe when he has a mustache and a Mario head on, maybe he does that because it's not him, it's Mario doing it.
That is freaky as fuck. I'm never gonna get that image out of my head. That's horrific.
Well done, Brack.
So brag. I literally every time I see Shigeru Miyamoto, I can imagine him in a Mario cap with a mustache going down on his wife now. Thank you, Bragg. So
you're welcome.
What's your best of E3, Bragg?
It's the new Spider-Man game, because I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. I really enjoyed Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 because you could swing around like that, and the swinging has never been better than that. Nope. Until now, because
no, you don't get to talk about Miyamoto in a fucking Mario hat and a mustache and then talk about swinging. Come on.
Sure. I think it fits.
The Mario hat, you mean? It fits?
Yeah, sure. Anyway, Spider-Man game.
Yeah, carry on, Brack.
But yeah, the game looks amazing. I love Spider-Man games. I love Spider-Man games, but there have been a lot of horrible ones.
Oh yeah.
And I like Spider-Man enough that I actually played through some of the weaker Spider-Man games. Like I played Web of Shadows. I finished that one, and I played the.
That was still one of the better ones, I would say.
That was still one of the
stuff that came after that was really bad.
I played Amazing Spider-Man, the first one.
Yeah. Shattered Dimensions.
I finished Shattered Dimensions, and that wasn't a good game either. Like I said, I like Spider-Man enough to play through shittier Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
So guess how excited I am that there's now an actual, really good-looking, amazing Spider-Man game
By a good developer.
By a good developer, and the game, just what I've seen, it looks great. The gameplay looks great. It's more
Gameplay
like Arkham style.
Yeah, exactly. They borrow heavily from Arkham, but that's okay. I mean, why not steal from the best, right? I mean, yeah, that fucking just the setting of New York is interesting, and it seems to you can like swing to pretty much the whole of it again. And oh man, graphically that game is like a bombshell. It's amazing. It just game looks so good. Voice acting seems to be top notch. It gets like some interesting prospects in terms of villains and everything. So
I have to say one thing. After seeing that gameplay footage, J. Jonah Jameson is completely right in hating Spider-Man, because Spider-Man fucks up that entire city in this footage. Like he destroys at least like 5 buildings, I think. Like because of him, especially because he saw the villain. He recognized the villain. He knows where that villain lives, where his personal life is. So just let him go and just wait for him when he walks through an alleyway or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't try to like put his helicopter and just attach it to like a huge crane that then falls over, almost killing hundreds of people, crushing, like destroying multiple buildings, and then still destroying multiple buildings later on. Like J. Jonah Jameson is completely incorrect in thinking Spider-Man is a menace after seeing that footage. Just saying.
Pretty much. Still look great though.
Still looks great.
him being a menace, and I can't wait to play that game. Goddamn, I'm
wait to be a menace myself.
So yeah, exactly. I'm so hyped for this. Like, ugh. But it's gonna be a while off 2018 sometime. But man, yeah, that's a good-looking Spider-Man game, and for all the people who like that character, it's probably gonna be a dream come true, just in terms of playability, in terms of what the game looks like, and I hope they put enough, fan serve villains and characters in there. They already teased Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man. He's in that. He seems to be in that game too. So I wonder if you can play both those characters. If the first game is about Peter, the second game will be about Miles. I don't know. It's interesting. So I'm looking forward to them because that's their intent. Obviously, they're gonna make this into a new franchise. So, Insomniac developing, at least 3 Spider-Man games is what I assume. So, yeah, I hope this first one already turns out well, and I hope they, lay some good groundwork work with the story and everything. So, yeah, 2018 can't come soon enough. That's all I'm saying.
I guess
your thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I'll throw in my 2 cents. Again, I'm not really a massive comic book fan. Ironically, one of the few comic books I did read when I was younger was Spider-Man. Because just all my friends were into it. But I don't know. Like, from a pure gameplay standard, it just seems like it's an overworld game. But overworlds, open worlds. I'm drunk. Take a shot. Open worlds generally have nothing really of interest in them. So, I mean, I don't know. I never played Spider-Man 2. Everybody always talks about Spider-Man 2 as this like this the definitive thing, that was amazing at the time, swinging around the open world. I can't really talk about that, but I do know that an open world needs to have stuff in it to be really interesting. Now, Arkham City was a really interesting game because the open world fit with its story. Excuse me, I'm choking too. Take a shot. Arkham City really fit with its storyline. It's one of the most genius pieces of storyline, but swinging around an open world with nothing in it sounds a little boring to me. And also,
we don't know if there's nothing in it yet, so
yes, okay, let's give it a benefit of the doubt. Let's not be negative Nellies and just give it the benefit of the doubt on that. But also, the fighting style is so derivative of Arkham Knight, though. In the Arkham series, it's really, really. I mean, that's not terrible because that was a great system, but it's not really offering anything new. And also, a lot of the special, I wouldn't say kills because Spider-Man doesn't kill, but excuse me, I'm going to have to cough here. That's what happens when you get potato chips lodged in the back of your throat. But, a lot of the special, takedowns and stuff seem very, very automated. Hey, look, there's a beam you can interact with there. Fire your web at it at the right time. It seems special within the confines of that gameplay where the professional game player is playing it specifically under instructions to do this, that at a certain time. But I think what that's going to come down to is a kind of repetitive mix, I think, of hey, there's a beam above this enemy, I'm just going to fire that, put it down to him, good, like that. Hey, there's an enemy close to the wall there, I'm going to smack him over, zip him up with my web. That's great the first time you do it. It's great the first 5 times you do it. Is it great the first, after the fucking 50th time you do it? I don't know. I get the feeling that combat system is very flashy, but not very robust in dealing with things that aren't scripted or worked into the DNA of the game. So we'll have to see. I don't want to be a negative Nelly. It does look a little interesting because. Excuse me, sorry, I really am choking on a potato chip.
While he's dying over there, yeah.
Yeah, I really am literally choking right now. But basically, I'm down with the villains. If they can get good boss battles in there, that should be great. Spider-Man has one of the best rogues galleries of the Marvel Universe, definitely. And I think that could be a lot of fun. However, how they implement the open world, apart from just swinging around it, is going to be crucial. How they choose to implement the quests and how they implement the fighting system and limit repetition, which I think is going to be difficult, is going to be crucial to the success of that game. Yes, Human Metal.
I think, Spider-Man 2 already had side quests. They were not super varied or anything, but I think they can, like, if they take that as a base model, they can improve on that, like, in a lot of ways. And I don't think that world will be completely empty unless this is like a mostly straightforward story-driven experience, that you just go along the story and don't have any side quests. I don't know if they've said anything in regards to that yet. And in terms of the fighting system, for me, it comes down to, not just dishing out punches, but how much you can do with Spider-Man's powers, actually. So incorporate the spider sense in there in a way, though I think that will more come into play in terms
Spider sense is going to be detective mode for sure.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But, the webbing and everything, like how much can you do with your webs? That would be the most interesting part for me. I hope you can, like, use environment stuff. I hope you can fling yourself forward, attach the web to different parts, maybe, to make the fighting more interesting. Pull the villains towards you, pull yourself towards the villains, and, give you some moves that correspond to that and evolve from that. So there's a lot of room to make interesting combat, even with the Arkham model. But we'll see if they realize it, like you said. But, like I said, even if you, like, just copy-paste the Arkham model, there's enough room there to improve it with, keeping Spider-Man's powers in mind.
It kind of reminds me that suddenly, for some reason, I'm really reminded that really fun and also kind of terrible Harry Potter game, like the Deathly Hallows Part 2, where they basically had, like, all the spells mapped to a first-person shooter. Yeah. Like, basically, it was like Confringo was like a fucking machine gun, and like another one was a grenade, another one was a shotgun. That was good fun. I can imagine Spider-Man doing that, like with his webs, like as a machine gun. I don't know. Let's hope they don't go down that route. But yes, I'm cautiously optimistic. You guys are more optimistic than me, but I'm cautiously optimistic. When I see that game, I see like various parts of other games sort of sandwiched into one. But let's hope they manage to conjure some magic. With that franchise. But hey, with that brings us to the end of this week's visit to the ocean floor. This week's visit, I should say, month's visit. 2 months visit, yearly visit, who knows with the Radiophonic Sea Creatures. We haven't been consistent in our episodes. We'll try to be more consistent in the future. As I'm saying that, the other two are kind of like sending these looks at me that says kind of like, fuck you. But if you have any opinions about E3, you want to tell us your favorite game, please sound off in the comments section. And until then, please join us next time. Some German ruffian tries to stir up your peanut butter.